Knowledge is Power podcast live with your host, Tony Redford, and my co-hosts, LaDonna Sherwood and Francis Lawkins.
Knowledge is Power podcast live starts now.
Well, hello, everybody. We're here and we're back and we've got a lot. Oh, my God. Woo, we've got a lot to chop up tonight. That's right. We've got a lot going on tonight. We've got a lot to talk about. We're going to talk about the Beaumont mayor's race. Yeah, we're going to talk about the mayor's race. We're going to talk about the BISD decision to remove the parts of the Black History Month display. And we're going to talk about the Examiner. We're going to talk about the red meat tonight too, as well. So we got a lot going on tonight. And LaDonna.
Knowledge is Power Podcast Live is a platform to share important information by educating Southeast Texas African American communities with valuable information on health, education, finance, politics, and business. And honey, we pride ourselves on having our hand at the pulse of the community, keeping you up to date and abreast on what's going on in and around the Golden Triangle. Let's get right into it. I'm super excited about tonight. I can't wait.
I hear you. Knowledge is Power Podcast Live is now on Facebook, Spotify, iHeartRadio, YouTube, LinkedIn, Twitter, and Google Play. So we are all over the place. And let's get started. So, guys, I just want to read this here. Now, you guys tell me, what do you think about this? I'm disappointed in this, but let me just tell you what about this here. We're going to talk about the BISD removing parts of the Black History Month display. Y'all heard about it? Did y'all hear about it?
I've heard about it.
You heard about it? Let me tell you about this. Okay, the parents and teachers and members of the Beaumont Independent School District administration are expressing confusion and outrage at a decision by the district officials to remove elements of the Black History Month mural deemed too political. You hear it? They say it's too political. I also have photos of that, and I'll post up in a minute, but it's about the Olympic power salute.
Please post the picture.
Yeah, I was about to say, it was, I didn't find anything in my culture, in my history, in the storytelling of the struggle of my history of to where we are currently. I didn't find that to be offensive. I didn't find it to be derogatory. And a lot of people, as the PTA president, ex-president, and treasurer, almost throughout this entire district, my phone rang off the hook trying to figure out what possibly could be done to put that display back on, because there was no political or any rhetoric that they could possibly think of, with the exception of expressing what Black history meant to them as individual students, faculty, and or staff. I still don't understand it.
It makes two of us.
I was outraged. I was called and informed that this was a series of events that had been taking place over at Vincent, where they had the climate there is already a little shaky due to some other things that a teacher recently told a student about Kamala Harris. That she wasn't really Black, and she didn't really understand why people were so excited because she wasn't fully Black. I think the NAACP, which I am a part of and a member of, we have that fist on a lot of our things, and we use that fist as a symbol of unity and solidarity, and it stands for power to the people, and all people. Like, and I felt as if oftentimes we have to do what's politically correct while other sects and groups get to do different things,
Right.
i.e. the storm the Capitol. Black Lives Matter did not get within feet of the Capitol, but here we are with nooses and shouting, shoot pence and all of these things that are not politically correct, and they get a pass or a slap on the wrist or just an overall just overlooked and a nod and a wink. And here we are in Southeast Texas, and our children and our teacher who want to express their Black sentiments in whatever capacity that may be are found offensive. Somebody said it was offensive. It was creating division. It was inciting violence. And I can't imagine that you got all of those things out of brown crayon and black colored fists. I don't think that you got division, racism, oppression, or segregation, or whatever they want to suggest. Those kids colored fists, and it's being characterized as something that is inciting violence and creating division. How can some people celebrating of their history or a symbol that's connected to them? That's like saying that you can't have a piñata on Cinco de Mayo or something of this effect, or the sombrero is some kind of way a symbol of division or something. I mean, I don't get the symbolism. Somebody on a post wanted to akin it to the Heil Hitler thing or whatever, salute.
Wow.
Man,
But here's the thing.
that had me hot.
People have not been mass murdered or killed under the symbol of Black Power. You know, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 million people weren't killed under the Black Power symbol, or even just a closed fist. And that clenched fist can be used by white people, brown people, black people, any people.
Let me
It
enact right
has
quick.
been used by several different people.
Yeah,
Different cultures have used the fist.
let me enact right quick before you say that. And I want because I want the audience to know that those are listening is that we're talking about something that was done in 1968. So to get you catch up on what we're talking about is that in 1968, the Olympics Black Power Salute was a seminal moment in civil rights history, where Tommy Smith and John Carlos, two top performing athletes, used their moment on the international stage to stand in solidarity with the Black Power movement.
Because they weren't always allowed.
That's right. This is history.
Blacks weren't.
Black history is more than Martin Luther King Jr., Rosa Parks, and slavery.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You understand what I'm saying?
Exactly.
And this is why we deprive our children of Black history.
Right. And this is why we only get a month as it is. And now you're going to dictate what can be, what's politically correct inside those 30 days that we can post up. To me, as a parent, I mean, I've reached out to Angel San Juan for a host of different things. I feel like this is absurd. I feel like it's absurd. It's really teetering on the lines of, I mean, almost some sort of reverse racism. I mean, what are you suggesting? I mean, and is this something that Black people are saying is politically incorrect, or are we trying to appease another group of people who is not their history month and they really just need to stand down? At the end of the day, who are we why are we removing this? Is it because it was offensive to the students, or was it offensive to the teachers? Because I really think that it was a group of teachers that felt offended. I really don't believe that it had anything to do with any students.
Was it something that was written on the fist?
No.
They were just
was written on there?
No, just.
Okay.
You know, when John Hartley, the congressman, the Senate, that gave the salute to the extremists during the march to Capitol, the insurrection of the Capitol, that's okay. That was okay with him, right?
He did whatever he wanted. That was nothing. They say that was just people following the orders of the president, and they were allowed to do exercising their right.
Mm-hmm. Well,
Can I step in for a minute?
yeah, do that, sweetie.
Okay, look, it's deja vu for me because back in 1970, the year I graduated from high school, we had a Black History program. And we had 3 teachers fired from the Black History program because one white person stated that it was
offensive.
You feel me? So now we're back in 1921.
Full circle.
2021.
2021, and it's right back again. Beaumont would never change.
Let me say this: I substitute taught once, and I got fired from substitute teaching because I was teaching the same curriculum, something similar to Black power, Black royalty, Black excellence, and it was being said that I was teaching them to usurp authority and to be disrespectful. And I don't really know how you can get somebody encouraging their youth to do their research, to be strong and powerful and empower these kids, that is some type of way usurping authority or being disrespectful. So what you're saying is that their power is in direct opposition to who you are and what you stand for. If other people exert their power in any capacity.
Yeah, they're trying to cut off the head before it grows.
Right.
That's what's happening. So
you have programs in the school. You have programs in the school. You can have the dragon coming down the hallway. You can have the Hispanic program. But when it comes to 28 days of Black history, that's when everything it's a problem.
Yeah, try to cut off the
head.
I
think that it's the people that the 1 or 2 non-African American people that feel offended that gets their way, while the rest of us are being made to dumb down, take a back seat, get along to go along, turn the other cheek, and don't say nothing. I'm just gonna say, at this point in my life, at this junction in life, I'm over that. How about you stand down? How about you sit down? And how about you take a back seat? And how about you deal with some of the offenses that we deal with openly on a day-to-day basis? Oh, well, if you're offended, take a seat, get you some dancing shoes, and welcome to the party.
Exactly.
Get you some dancing shoes. The music been on. The music been playing.
Like you were fired from the district for what you did with teaching and everything?
Yes, ma'am.
My first job, I worked at, I don't know if you younger people, I know Roger Brothers. I know some of us know about Roger Brothers. And they called me in the office and asked me, was Leantha J. Red related to me? I said, that's my daddy's brother. 2 days later, I was fired because I'm too radical.
Right. And what's the terminology with that? I mean, are we calling the domestic terrorists radical when they storm the Capitol? I mean, they use all these frilly words. We love you. We love you.
Okay.
I will say this as a veteran, I'm glad that I'm not a Capitol policeman, because it would be more than one dead treasonous person.
Right. Yeah.
And I stand on that. Period. I took an oath to defend the Constitution of this country and her people against all enemies, foreign and domestic. Foreign over there and domestic over here. So if you thought on my watch you was gonna get away, no, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. And I wasn't being military. I wasn't trained to wound or maim nobody. It's one shot, one kill, and that's it. You boom, you're dead. So especially in the process of an insurrection, especially in the process of treasonous individuals trying to take over my Constitution
and overturn an election and fraud and steal and lie
exactly. Exactly. I mean,
And
like
in
you
the
said too.
future, going
Like
forward,
right.
I'm wondering what is the state of the Republican Party gonna be like? I almost feel like they sold for a jelly roll. They used to
Let
be
me tell you. Let me tell you this.
allegedly the
This
party of moral
That's
concepts.
what it used to be.
That
But
used to be.
that's been infiltrated by the Dixiecrats a long time ago. That's been infiltrated. And can we say infiltrated?
We can say
I mean,
anything we
like
want on tonight on the
yeah,
round table
yeah.
talk.
And it's not like we as a diaspora here in this country had either party in our favor while we playing. But of course, we did have more legislative sway, if you will, in the Republican Party, especially when it came to national legislation.
Well, let's
Uh, Most local or communities were either small Republican, parties like Beaumont is a small Democratic blue in the sea of red, like they say.
Stronghold.
Um,
stronghold. But
but
let's not lose focus on what our topic is tonight, and that is the BISD decision to remove the parts of Black history
Yeah,
display, and we need to stay on this and stay on their ass too, because
the
that
parts
should never
the,
happen, you know.
the reason they
And
wanted to move it, the reason they
yeah,
wanted to move it
this
was
is what
because
they. But
on
let me show you this. Let me show you this. Let me show
Yeah,
you
show the picture.
that is what they are. That is what they are saying that shouldn't have. This is the display. Now, what do you see too political about?
First of all, I see a bunch of different colors. I see light
Mhm.
brown, I see dark brown, I see gray, I
Mhm.
see some white fists in the back and everything. So I don't see how this they black, they brown, they gray, they some light, some different colors. And if you put the whole picture up, it's even a rainbow one down at the bottom, if I can
Right,
remember correctly from
right.
the picture.
with
They
what the
got one
problem
that's got some rainbows on it and everything. So how did you find this offensive? And they are not even all black fists.
what they found a problem with it was that it had the names of people killed by cops on it.
No, that's the children's name. That boy name is Andrew. That's somebody's name is Jordan.
Now,
No, yeah,
yeah,
that's Trayvon, yeah, George. But
that's not.
it's not political to me. This is history.
I,
This is history, people.
and I guess like the issue is just like look, just like Queen Jones said. And it's good to see you, Queen. It goes back because if you reflect back, this is the same image that was portrayed uh back in the day, propaganda. I mean, like uh the fist is pretty much the same, especially the dark one that's at like almost in the middle. The design of the fist is the same as it was from when, you know and I guess like for back then white folk, it was, a sign of intimidation, a sign
Mhm.
of black unity, and which, like LaDonna said, a lot of people are afraid. Even us, some of us are afraid of black
Mm-hmm.
unity. So I mean, that's, to me, seeing this as a kid, and still seeing the same fist carried from my mother's time, because she's born in the 50s, uh, to now. I mean, it's still significant, and like I said, I mean, like, that's what they fear. They fear the information
I
continuing to be spread. They fear the legacy, the bloodline,
I
the
think
blood life of what we know as African Americans,
I
or
think
black
they
people.
ran some game with this anyway. Because here's the thing: who was offended? Can we find
Mm.
out who was offended? Because allegedly, right, Tony? They said they got an anonymous letter
Yeah.
to the administration that some of the parents, I think, or a parent found it offensive and inciting division and violence. But how would a parent even have known that that was up there?
Well, if I may chime in real quickly, I'm so sorry for my tardiness and my absence for at the beginning of the show. But what I do feel is that there again is a miseducation in communications. We know it's kind of like how you spin things and how you teach. If you teach that to be a negatively connotated image, then that's what the kids are going to perceive it as. Just as we can perceive the Confederate flag as a negative image because of how it's been used, even though maybe it wasn't designed initially for that. But because it's been used in such a negative way throughout the years to mark certain time frames in our life, we associate that. They've done it so much to the point where we cannot actually remove that. Now that's a staple to that particular image. But really what you see is just an image. And if that parent does not teach their children or their child the correct way of how to view that image, that is the image that will continue to be placed with that fist. That fist is just an image, but whatever we teach them to understand and believe about that fist is how they're going to perceive it and move that information forward. And I think it's just due again to the lack of education and to a lot of ignorance and just not knowing your history or just not wanting to accept what history truly is. So
I
it's
just
very
think that our
disheartening.
history has to always be curtailed in their
True.
history. We
Okay.
have to abridge it. We have to shorten it. We have to politically correct it. We got to
Yeah,
make it
we have
fit
to
into
apologize
whatever
for
box
it.
is going to make them feel good.
Right,
Our
we have to
history has to be a
apologize
feel
for
good
it.
assignment for the rest of the group.
But I think
Okay.
I think it's all
apologize and tone it down.
I think it's all bullshit. That's what I think. It's all bullshit. So you can take that and however you want to take it.
Yeah,
That is not too political. It's something to oppress us and keep our children oppressed.
right.
I'm just gonna tell it like it is. Bullshit aside.
That's
Now,
all it is.
that's all it is. Now,
Yeah.
we didn't learn no black kids. They've been lying to us all our lives. We thought, like I always say, we thought Christopher Columbus discovered America. Christopher Columbus didn't discover America. He was just a
neither am I.
lying. He just a lying cracker. He wasn't no. That's right. That's right. Y'all on here, y'all round table talk. And I can see.
Anything
Kill
goes.
Chris. You kill Chris. He
I'm not
dead.
allowed to run office because I'll tell it like it is. I
Somebody
don't take no shit. You know, I'm never taking no shit out of nobody. This is where it's supposed to be. And they're so busy oppressing us. And depress us till we're depressed. We don't have nowhere to go.
And
Now,
go ahead.
somebody need to be at the superintendent office in the morning.
I was just fixing to say,
Somebody
as
on the step
parents,
first thing in the morning.
as parents
You're right.
and as
You're
people
right.
that are running for school board and they got the school board coming up, this needs to be one of those topics. What in the hell do you propose that we do as black people when we can't have our fist colorings? Some children can't color different color fists anyway. They didn't even have them all one color without it being offensive to other people.
I think it's important that those fists are presented in the school district due to, again, to the climate of the Black Lives Matter movement and everything that's going on in the country, so that they can understand what that means. But this is a time, again, to heal and correct, not to continue to cause that image to further divide our country and our children and for lineages to come forward.
Let our fist be a symbol of beauty. Take it and make it beautiful, like we do with the stuff that y'all hand us.
We can correct, we can adjust, we can change mindsets. Now is the time. So I completely agree with the fist being present. I love the fact that the images are not just black. There, to me, I seen some Asian fists in there. Right. In my mind, I saw some albino fists. I saw some clear fists. I saw a beautiful piece of artwork is what I saw. So, but that's
some
my
people see what they want to see.
I did.
Exactly. And they're also teaching.
Yeah, this is what we talked about.
But you don't have the whole picture, Tony, because it's a fist down there with some
purple something up there. I see purple. I mean, so it's not the image itself is not offensive, but the message and how we perceive it and how we're passing it along may be. It's nothing wrong with this image.
I think it's a great piece of art.
I think it's beautiful.
I think it is
And I
beautiful.
think now it is definitely necessary, and it's a time to within the school district, especially. Did we say that this was viewed at Vincent Middle School?
Yes.
Okay, they're definitely at an age where their mindsets are being formed. Now is the time where they understand a lot more than they did in elementary, and they understand what news and what is
Right.
being pushed politically. And we're not trying to push a political agenda on them, but this is a part of our history, a part of who we are in this country, and it's not going anywhere. So we've got to
Not
find.
only that,
Right.
I'm
We got
And
to
what's
sorry,
find
but
going on
that.
right now?
here's my next thing. They took down the Black Fist and the Black Olympic winners who put up their fist and left up Michael Jackson dancing with his hands in the air.
You
So
know
if
what?
we can, it's cool to leave Michael Jackson up there, but men who won an Olympic, a worldwide event can't put their fist in the air. But as long as we shucking and jiving, it's cool. They left Michael Jackson up, but they took down the Olympian winners who decided as a matter of pride to hold their fists in the air. They can't have pride in their history and their self and their
Right.
solidarity and their
And they
unity.
didn't. And
But
to
you can
me,
shake it, you could dance.
that
As
was
long
the
as you're
tie
bucking and jacking,
together.
it's all good.
You know what I'm saying? That was the tie together. That was like,
How
again,
old are you?
that was the shut off. I
Shit.
do not want to show little black boys and little black girls that this fist was way back then on some Olympic medalists, two
That's right.
Olympic
Two.
medalists that were not in this Olympics event, did not happen in this country. I do not want you to associate that with two Olympic medalists. I want you to associate this with what they call Antifa and all that other
It is,
crazy crap, and
Chris.
and and not
It's just,
really know why Black Lives Matter do have this image.
hey, Chris. It's all part of Black history. I don't care how you
Yeah.
look at it, how you slice it up, how you round it out, how you roll it up. It's part of Black
It's
history.
bullshit.
Yes, it is bullshit now. Now, our
It's
people
bullshit,
should,
man.
our black people, our
Man,
black children should know their history. And that's
Right.
why we
when I
need to,
saw it,
right.
when I saw it on Facebook, and I saw it on Facebook posted by somebody that's not of the diaspora, it didn't piss me off that they posted it. It pissed me off even more that it pissed them off.
Right. They upset too.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
My
I
thing,
pissed off even
what
more
I am
that
mostly upset
somebody
about this whole
was
situation is we are continuously forced into a box that we have to maintain in order to make other people happy. We cannot keep telling our kids to cut themselves short, to do twice as much to get half as much money, to go above and beyond, to go do this and go do that they would not do for you. Why must we? And why can't we have a sense of pride in anything without it being offensive to other people? What is the problem with having, and you know what else I'm sick of? The sympathizers. I saw a lot of us on posts saying, oh, well, that's just like Hitler, or oh, well, it's just not politically correct, or oh, I could see where that would be offensive to some people, or oh, we can't do that at the school because the school is not a place for that, or oh, but we can learn all about all kind of stuff at the school that probably is not a place for that, but we do. But it's a little inappropriate and
well,
risque.
well,
And
Ladonna, I mean, y'all, we did make them take down the treasonous Confederate statues. So, you got for them to them, it's like even in our council, it's like in order for you to win, you have to compromise. And I guess like that was their compromise. Okay, if you're gonna do a Black Lives Matter movement and tear down statues, then Confederate statues, then you're not gonna be able to teach your real history throughout your diaspora, in and out of your diaspora, the original Aborigines. I ain't talking about white folks that claim to be natives and Aboriginal people. I'm not talking about them. I'm talking about the real Aborigine, the real indigenous people, the one that you don't want to teach about. I'm not talking about the civilized tribes. I'm talking about the ones you tried to kill off. You know what I'm saying? Those that you don't want to tell and don't want to show about, because that's the history of this country. That's Black history, because
And Native American
that's where
history.
it started.
All right, guys. We at the halfway mark. We've got another 30
I mean,
minutes to go.
it wouldn't matter if it wouldn't matter what my
Be
bloodline say. If
passionate.
I got this skin tone, if I got this skin tone to America, I am Black. Period. It doesn't matter if you come from bumfuck Egypt. If you come here with this skin tone, you
Yeah,
are Black in this
yeah,
fucking country.
right.
Period.
Okay, now we were at the halfway mark, Reverend Jane. I mean,
Uh,
hey, yeah, listen, guys.
My
But
bad.
that's okay. No, we rolling,
But
baby.
this
We
the
rolling.
round table, man.
It's
You
a
know,
round table
the
talk on
round
first
table.
Thursday. We're
I
on here
do
every Thursday.
apologize, Queen.
Every
I really
first
do
Thursday.
apologize, Miss D. You know I
Okay,
don't
that's
talk like that, Miss D.
but we are on every first Thursday. This is a special show that we have it every first Thursday at 8 o'clock each month. Every first Thursday of each month, we have a roundtable talk. We talk about local things that's happening. So now we're going to move on to our next topic. But before I move on to the next topic, I want to let folks know that the CDC eviction moratorium and rent assistance is still available. Please share this info on getting assistance
I
with
gotta go.
your rent and all your utility pay. You can call the Habitat of Humanity at 409-832-5853 or some other place at 409-832-7976. And speaking of, I'm gonna have to pass this on right quick because we've just come to find out, and they're so busy trying to oppress us. But okay, see you then. So anyway, they're so busy trying to suppress us on every area they can. But here in the city of Beaumont, I just made that announcement about the eviction moratorium. But Beaumont was awarded $5.6 million to help these people with their assistance, their rent assistance. They come to find out, nobody know where the money is. It disappeared.
Really?
Yeah,
Wow.
the money disappeared.
Wow.
Where the money go?
Hmm.
Okay, I said that. And let's move on
That's
to
interesting.
our. Yeah, that's very interesting. So
Crazy
Hold
we got
up,
work.
hell no! You mean to tell me you gonna spin that pizza like that, and I don't even at least get a slice of it?
hey, you could get a slice of it. Oh, get
No,
your
you
piece.
mean to
Get your
tell
piece of
me
it.
all that money that came through Beaumont and nobody got at least a whiff of it?
We were supposed to get something, but we didn't get it.
You
Where is
didn't?
it?
Oh,
Oh, I'm
Dog.
sorry. I am.
Wow.
oh no, you good, you good.
Okay. We're supposed to get some of that
So
money, but what happened? Deborah, did you take it?
Hey, I'm trying to read.
But
wait,
yes.
and
So
this money came from the state of Texas?
now this money comes from the government, to help the
This
rent assistance.
the state government or the federal government?
Federal government.
Federal government.
Federal
Okay,
government.
so this was the act that the emergency act that was signed
Yes.
on like almost day
Yes,
one, day
yes,
two,
yes,
day three, day
yes,
four.
yes.
Okay, so after that, because I remember before these executive orders were signed, somebody was talking about some money that was already here. So this the second round of money that nobody know what happened to.
Hmm.
Beaumont, Texas.
Beaumont, Texas.
Beaumont, Texas. Only place like it, but Beaumont,
But I
Texas.
get I get criticized because I quoted somebody saying that this was one of the most corrupt cities and counties in the state of Texas. I just quoted what somebody said.
Yeah.
I don't know that because I'm not on the ins and outs of this city or this county. But
Yeah.
um,
Let
the
me put some
people in
tobacco.
Austin know
Let,
that the city of Beaumont is corrupt.
let me put some more. Let me put some tobacco in your pipe. Let's talk about the Beaumont mayor race. We got a mess.
As
I,
usual.
we got a mess, and I don't
All
know
right, now,
how
now,
it's
now
going to
y'all
be
talk about this.
solved.
I do not want to hurt anybody's feelings. As
I,
a past candidate, uh, I do
I
not
mean,
want to hurt anybody's feelings
I don't hurt
before.
nobody's feelings either. But let me tell you
All
this.
right,
I
I
get to
just
say
had to
this.
put that disclaimer out there, Miss D. I just definitely wanted to make sure that Miss, because that's my educator right there. She taught me I can't. That's probably why she put her head down like that. I'm
Oh,
sorry, Miss D. I do apologize.
well,
My
let me just
bad,
say this.
Queen. I
Let's say this.
apologize.
Let's say this. I'm gonna kick it back to 2018,
Mm.
and I ran for at large, and I can remember the day of the sign that you can file. The first day you filed, there was another gentleman, a black gentleman, older gentleman, that filed, and 2 days later, I filed. I said, "Oh, okay, it's just us two." And and days went by. Come the last day of the month, last day of the signing deadline for filing, four others signed up of us blacks. Now we are 60% black, okay, but that pie just not going. That pie just that there's so much you can cut out of that pie. And I think I mentioned that, and I talked about it, and is that we cannot do that to ourselves again. We cannot overload a ballot and thinking we're going to win. Somebody got to be strong enough and proud enough and let their pride put their pride down and say, "Hey, listen, um, I'm a step to the side. Don't make the mistakes that we made 2 years ago, people. No one wanted to step aside then. We was our heart was sold on running for office. And when we did run for office, we were just too many of us in that race to
Yep.
win. And now our city council uh, staff doesn't look nothing like 60% black. We don't just make no decisions. We can't make any decisions, and nothing get passed. And we complain about we're not getting this from our side of our community or this side of the community. We complain about our dirty, dirty brown water. We complain about our street potholes. We talk about our infrastructure. We complain about everything, but we do not understand that you must put your pride to the side and say, hey, I'm going to let the better man, a better person run in this race. Why are we doing this to ourselves? Uh, why
It's
are
what
we
we
doing
know.
Why are
It's
we
all
keep
we.
doing this to ourselves? Now, yeah, I should
It's
have
what
learned
we
that
know.
lesson that I learned. I learned a hard way. I learned the hard way. And I promised I would never do that again. But I felt like I was a candidate. But at this time, I feel say, hey, listen, let's get one at a time in there. So I stepped aside
I
and
beg to
let's
differ. I beg to differ, big brother. And I've always respected your opinions and but I beg to differ. You have to you have to do you have to be strategic. Like when you and this is not chess, y'all. This is checkers. And you know as when you get two checkers stacked on top of each other, you can move all about, right?
yeah.
Well, that's what we need. We need, whether if you vote for this candidate or this candidate, we still in there. Whether you vote for this candidate or that candidate, you still that's what the establishment is doing. That's what the shadow government has done. And I don't know if a lot of our listeners and or watchers and but there is one. And if you don't know who the establishment is here, you're obviously naive. And
you do.
what's going on now is that your shadow government has ran individuals to make sure that they keep the power. You understand what I'm saying? So regardless to if you win, Tony, or if I win, Tony, the establishment that paid us both, and they still got the power. So
Right.
you sitting there, Tony, hush mouthed and quiet, and I'm sitting there hush mouthed and quiet, and your at large individuals are sitting there hush mouthed and quiet, and they're only voting on what the establishment tells them to vote on. So there is no access to you as a citizen. There is no access to you as a block. There is no access to you really as a pack, because unless you are the establishment, you have no access. And if you do
Well,
have access, then you're paying the establishment.
well, my point is this. My point is this. There are too many in the race. The pie is just so much.
Too
And
many
what
of those individuals that are
as
establishment. We
right.
haven't, and I guess the reason we feel that it's too many individuals in the race is because we haven't cultivated and or groomed any candidates. We haven't presented no candidate with a plan. And I hear people say, "Oh, that they're going to split the black vote." Excuse me?
You can't split
No
it if you ain't got no
offense.
numbers.
No,
Right.
no
You got to
offense,
have numbers to split.
populace.
So
So
No
what
offense, populace. There is 16% of voters that's coming out. How is it that 16% of the vote, the of if individuals that are eligible to vote, how is it that it's 16% all the time, every time? How is that split? No, that's not split. That's inactivated people. If you're not going to activate those, if you're not going to reach out to those who never vote in city elections, you are never going to win. And the reason that is because a lot of us already feel they're going to do what they want to do anyway, so there's no need for me to support a candidate and or go vote for one, especially if one's been there almost all of my life and I've been living in despair and deprivation and oppression at the hands of this individual. And he just so happened, or she just so happened, or they just so happened to wear my skin color. Offensive, which is done intentionally by the establishment. I want our people to know that knowledge is power on today. If you're not going to stack the deck, if you're not going to stack the odds against the establishment, if you're not going to present these candidates with a plan instead of being receptive to theirs, you get what you get, man.
well,
You
Chris,
get what you get, man.
we playing checkers and they're playing chess. And
No, they're not
sometimes
even playing chess.
they're not even playing.
Doc, they're not playing chess. They're
and
not
listen,
playing
and
chess.
the way we look, and the way we act, and the way we perform,
This
and
what
the
they're
way we're
doing.
doing it, we're
This
not
what they
even playing
doing. They
checkers.
are
We're playing
No,
Keno.
they are paying the
we
game
playing against
pieces,
each
big
other.
brother. They
We playing
paying the
against each
game
other.
players, big
Trust
brother. They
now.
paying the
Don't tell me
game
that.
players.
No,
That's
We
no,
all
don't
playing
tell
they
me
against.
that.
doing.
Are you
I'm
trying to tell
telling you,
me?
big
Are
brother.
you trying to
I'm
tell
telling you,
me
big
that,
brother.
they're trying to
I'm
play
telling.
us? They're playing
Hey,
us
you take my
against each
phone.
other.
I told you this
We
is
playing each
this the
other.
round table.
Chris,
We
we
playing each
talk.
other.
We playing each other
The establishment is paying your players.
Yes.
to play
And the
each other.
more players that the establishment has in the game, you on the as the opposer has no players in the game. That's
Yep.
why I said if you could get three individuals you can count on for mayor, if you could get three individuals you can count on for Ward 3, if you could get three individuals that you can count on for Ward 1, 2, and 4, then there is nowhere around me who is now the populace, because these are the candidates that we put forward. Period. It's not one, go choose this one. No, go choose him, her, or him, and we got them. Those are our candidates. You have to become the establishment. You can't wait for the establishment to give you somebody and then that somebody give you a plan. You know, that's ass backwards, family.
Chris, for those of us that are not as knowledgeable on political jargon, can you please explain to our audience what the establishment is?
The establishment is
The money.
Especially for Beaumont, the establishment is the money.
The money.
The money is the establishment. And I'm not talking about
Okay.
your campaign finance. I'm not talking about how you fundraise. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the establishment is pretty much the name you see in lights everywhere you go in Beaumont. The
Gotcha.
establishment is the one you see sitting in restaurants paying your elected officials to do their bidding. That's the establishment. And if you want to put a face with the establishment, ask your elected official where their down pay come from. And I'm not talking about the money that trickles down. No, I'm talking about down pay. That means here. That's like seed money. Ask them where the seed money comes from. Ask your candidates for a very transparent financial statement. And I'm talking about one that's supposed to be submitted in the first place. Every every candidate has to submit a financial report from every individual they receive money from. That's the same situation. That's one of the same reasons why our sheriff was in the sticky that she was in, because she submitted her paperwork, but there were discrepancies. So if even in those discrepancies of that we find as discrepancies, because we are the electorate, we are the people that's going out to elect these individuals, we have to make sure that the establishment is either me or the establishment has either bought into my plan. Period. You're not going to continue to cut people out of growth and productivity here in the city of Beaumont and think I'm going to be quiet about it. Establishment.
Yes, this.
What do you think about the candidates? I don't want you to make any comments about it, but I'm just saying what we need is unity.
No. I don't want to hear that. Because if you got me unified, and we're just, bro, okay, if you want unity, Tony, give me something to be unified on. And it ain't a candidate. You understand that? It's not a candidate, bro. This candidate can tell us day in, day out, this is what they got, this is what they want to do, unless we have presented them with a plan and hold them to the fire. That candidate is not bound to us, especially if we have not given to, rented, bought, or leased that candidate, especially from the establishment. Man, come on.
Well, I have not yet heard about the things that if you're running for a candidate, you're running as a candidate. I have not heard the core of it, the bone, the meat of it. You know, I'm hearing about what my platform is and all this, but what is the meat of this?
And
what are you gonna do for your black community?
Eargasms, bro. That's eargasms, big brother. Let me tell you why that's eargasms. The current council already told you. The current council and administration already done told y'all how long it's going to take. Of course, me, if I'm ever elected in the city of Beaumont, I definitely want a forensic audit. That means any discrepancies we are convicting as citizens of Beaumont. Period. Those discrepancies, once found, especially when you find it misappropriations, I guess you can call it, in the city's budget.
Like the $5.6 million.
Even with the city presenting, man, bro, like even with the city submitting budgets to, even with the administration submitting budgets to council, those things are illegal because the city charter says this, that, and the other, and you're not supposed to submit beneath or above your revenues. That's it. That's been happening. And the only way the city of Beaumont has been telling citizens of Beaumont that we are in great financial standing is because the storms busting our ass left and right, and they're getting that money, they're getting that money, they're getting that money, and they're getting that money, and they're getting this money that you sitting up here asking about right now. And during this election, they're gonna tell you that the finances of the city is wealthy. Oh, why? Because you got 500 million that you ain't did nothing with.
Mm.
You are Tony. You already know they ain't. Tony and Terry, y'all already know they ain't gonna pull that snake over my eye. Just like I told Mr. Mike Getz, if you could file for a grant for Dowling Road to get paved almost every 2 years, then you could file for a grant for 4th Street to be redone in the first place.
Speaking of my guest,
It's not about being you know, having a particular candidate. Like I said, if you're going to vote for any one of these candidates that's on the slate, I guarantee you the establishment, the shadow government has put money in their pocket already. And I am not talking about them going out fundraising. I'm not talking about them doing plates and dinners and all that other stuff. I'm talking about them sitting at a table with the shadow government and or the establishment and receiving monies to kick off their campaign, which then is not just given to them so that they can run, y'all. Please understand that. Please understand that these candidates are not given money just so that they could be a candidate. These individuals are receiving money for a particular agenda and for a particular purpose. And most of the times, our asses ain't in it. And we are the fucking populace of this city. And you still, yeah.
well, Chris, I understand how you feel, man, and it's another thing I like to talk about, and that's and to bring up is that what about the dog, the dog grounds in Roger Park? Did y'all read about that? Is that up on the city agenda?
Well, next week it is.
Yeah, what is
Yeah.
it called? A
Park.
dog park. And then we got people can't pay rent. We got people that can't drink clean water. But you're talking about putting a dog park. Why don't you put a dog park in your backyard? We got the wrong. We
I'm
got the
telling you,
wrong.
man.
We got
Any
the wrong
money that
problem.
they,
We got
any
the
money that
wrong.
they
We got
seeing
the
right
wrong
now,
people. We
that's
got the
the
wrong
money
people.
that's they rent. That's people rent money, man. I'm telling y'all, man. I'm telling y'all, man. And I don't see, like I said earlier, I don't see us having as citizens, they can say and do all they want, bro. I don't see us having access to. I don't see us having access to and through rightful representation right now. Like I said, and especially if we are not presenting these candidates with our plan, not a plan that they want us to follow and or be copacetic with. That's not gonna work, man. We see that where that has gotten us, especially in Ward 3 and Ward 4, and I mean like Old Town. I don't care if it is two different wards. You're still in the same predicament that you was in when the council member before redistricting 10 years ago. Now redistricting is up again. So now what? What you gonna push is you gonna push us even further back? You gonna push Ward 3 even further on the other side of the track?
This is why we
You
have
gonna
to
make
put.
sure that Ward 4 is on the other side of the tracks?
This is why we have to have
Man, y'all
representatives. We
better
have to
wake
vote
up
for
and smell the
representatives.
ammonia.
This is why we have to have representatives that's going to
You
represent
need public servants,
community.
man. We need public servants.
And we
And
need
as of right now,
strategy.
let me
It
look at
takes
this
strategy.
list.
Uh-huh. It takes strategy. We got to
It
strategize.
it's too late for strategy. If you're gonna strategize, big brother, you gotta strategize from 2 to 4 years from now. 2 to 4 years from now. Because the individuals, especially being that we are not a part and
Let me tell
portion
you what's
of
going
the
to happen.
establishment.
Let me tell you what's going to happen. As it sit right now, 3 blacks in the mayor race and 2 whites. Bubba Pate, Raw West, and the 3 of ours, Dakita Smith, Robin Mouton, and LaShawn Proctor. This is what's going to happen if no one steps out and step away from this deal. Is that when we go to the polls, it'll end up in a runoff. And you know who the runoff going to be? Raw West and Bubba Pate. And you talking about a disaster. And that's who one of those two will end up in this race, the mayor race. If somebody don't have some common sense and swallow their pride and say, well, maybe I need to run for Ward 2. Maybe I need to run for Ward 1. I don't need to run for mayor. I serve my time. Maybe I need to go back and run in Ward 2. Maybe I need to take the at-large position. You know, you still have time. They've already filed. You got to the 12th of February, and you got 10 days after you filed to make a change.
Withdraw.
Right, to switch off or whatever. You drop out or want to
withdraw.
go to another, run for another ballot, another race.
Yeah.
So it's, all I want to say is don't do what Tony Renfro had to go through 2 years ago. And that's a lesson. And it was a very expensive lesson for me. And I'm saying right now, those who are watching or listening, we have to be smarter than this. We've got to come together, people, because we're playing into their hands. We're splitting the votes up, and we're going to end up right back where we are right now today. Set back. We've been set back for the last 2-3 decades. And we don't change our hearts right now. And also, not only that, we've got to put the right people in position that's going to represent us, not the establishment, us. They're going to put their foot down and say, no, that money need to go to South End. That money needs to go to South Park. That money needs to go to the Pear Orchard. That money needs to go to North End. Those streets need to be repaired in North End. Those streets need to be repaired in of South Park. But wait a minute, I'm not through. That water infrastructure needs to be repaired in the West End. Alameda. Did I say that right? Amelia, yes.
Amelia.
Yeah, okay.
Amelia.
This is what I'm saying. Who's doing what? There's nothing coming out of this. So this is what I'm saying. The right people, not because he's popular or he's well known or he looks good or they look good or she look good, whatever. People, we've got to put the right people that's going to represent us. I ain't going to play no shit. Ain't going to be bought off. And we just got to, we preached about this we've been talking about this for the last 2 years.
But the establishment not gonna let it go that easy.
Man.
They're not gonna let it go that easy.
It's not.
It's gonna be Chris, am I right? The establishment not gonna let it go that easy. It's not.
Your establishment going one or two
got
things
30
is gonna
years.
happen. Your establishment is gonna buy every last candidate that's out there, and or your establishment is gonna buy the entire election just like it has been.
For
But
the
right
past
now,
30
I think
years.
your establishment is I think your establishment is a little bit timid to buy the election because it's local and county and state elections in the state of Texas have been scrutinized, especially with Hot Wheels in office. So he might be a little timid to purchase this year's local election. But then again, they turn a blind eye in Austin to a lot of shit that goes on in Beaumont. So who knows? Or Jefferson County. So who knows?
Well, I think
30 years.
Well, we talked enough, and I want the audience, the listeners, to understand we won't be on Sunday because of Super Bowl, but we'll be right back at you on Tuesday.
Go Tom Brady.
old man, old goat. Now that's the real goat. That's the real goat. But we'll be back on next Tuesday, and we're gonna have some more guests coming on. And I think Francis, you still with us?
I'm here, guys.
Okay, yes. So we enjoyed the time, and
I appreciate you coming through, Queen. I think this is our first night on together, right?
Oh yeah, this is our first night
Right, Miss
on.
Francis?
Yes,
Yeah.
I'd love to gain more knowledge about politics. I truly care about Beaumont and the well-being of our future.
Awesome.
So any opportunity I have to sit on such a panel, I would love to take it. So
Yeah.
We
And we,
just
Absolutely.
gotta get
Absolutely.
past the
Add me.
establishment.
yeah.
Yeah,
We
add
got
me
to.
on Facebook. Chris Jones.
absolutely, I'll do that
I'm
now.
on there.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Um, yeah, man. I mean, Tony, we got to do this more than, like you said, more than once a month, man. Because the roundtable be our topics be heated. I'm not saying that the other topics that that I've attended and watched from Knowledge is Power aren't, but I think being that it's transparent and cutthroat as the roundtable has been, especially in my big brother Perry's absence. I think that uh, it rubs us the right way, especially when you trying to sharpen something. It clangs. It has to bang together, and I like how the roundtable bangs our community together to sharpen it, especially in knowledge. And
Right.
like you said, Mr. Terry, you have to become the establishment if you want control in your
If you
local
want to beat
government.
them, and we got to be able to start coming together. Because if you don't ever come together, we're gonna remain exactly like we are. You know, it's been 30 years since Beaumont's grown. Nothing
Yeah.
big has come out here because big money don't want it
Hmm.
out here.
Right. And let me
They don't
just say
want it.
this. Yeah, you're right. And another thing, I got to say this before I get off this podcast, is that not only do we need to put the right people in place, if we can,
But
and
who's the right
also
people?
the right people.
Who?
Not my buddy, not my classmate, not my frat brother. I'm talking about the right people that's going to look out and represent our black community.
Access,
Now, and
right?
then also, not only that, we've got to put African Americans on these committees.
You mean the ones that's for us, right? Because
I'm talking
everybody
about
that's us
Them that's
ain't
not
us.
bought and
we're
paid.
not
Them that's
on
not
those
trying to.
committees. We're not on the city committees. We're not on the
You're not.
development. We're not.
And
Yep.
if you are, you bought and paid for.
That's right.
Or
Now
you,
that's
if
got
you
to
are
change. Who's got the
eligible,
balls?
you don't live on you. You're not as diverse as we would like for you to be. You're
That's
not
right.
as in what's the word I'm looking for? You're not as inclusive as we would like you to be within your commissions.
That's
You
right.
don't have to wear my skin tone for you to be an advocate for me.
That's right.
But I definitely need access and I need advocacy. And whoever is my next elected, and if whoever is my next elected, you better be mindful because I'm coming. Just like I'm on Aldwin's ass, just like I'm on Becky's ass, just like I'm on WL's ass, just like I'm on Randy Felshaw's ass. I'm on their ass because they are my access. And I'm not gonna stop until you give me the access that I need. Period.
Knowledge is Power Podcast Live comes to you every Sundays and Tuesdays, everybody. Please come back and join us again. Our time is up. And I love what we're doing and I love how we're doing it. And I love you to come back and visit us every Sundays and Tuesdays evening. With that being said, God bless you. We love you.
Thank you for watching Knowledge is Power Podcast Live. Be sure to like and subscribe to all Knowledge is Power social media pages.